Kyra the Mogul, and welcome to my channel where we talk about holistic health, healing, and purposeful living. So before we even get into the video, can we get into this hair? Curls on 10. Texture on 10. 4C hair. What? Do you see this? Babe. Period. This is all me, by the way. No extensions. I apologize if it's a little, I guess dim. It's not as sunny as I thought it would be, and I have stuff to do, and I kind of wanted to get this video. I wanted to get this video out the way. So I apologize if it's a little dim, but whatever. We're just gonna work with it. So today's topic is going to be about 5 rules of the mind that you can use today to transform your reality. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I don't think people understand just how powerful their mind is. Not enough people give their mind credit, or they just simply don't know. And I kind of just wanted to break those 5 rules down. There's a plethora of rules of the mind, but these are just the 5 that I use. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first one, and I have my notes here. I didn't want this video to be all over the place, and I know me, my mind just has like 1,000,001 tabs open, so I'm going to be looking down, referring to my notes. So the first one, the stories you tell your mind repeatedly will be the stories that you identify with, and what you identify with is what you become. So if someone resonates with the victim mentality or victim mindset, and they tell themselves the story of them being a victim, maybe someone was bullied for the majority of their life while they were in school, and they internalized that, and they felt like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they have a point. Maybe there is a reason why they're bullying me. Maybe it's because I will never amount to anything. Maybe they start to internalize it, and if they keep telling themselves that story, they eventually embody that. The cells that they have in their body eventually resonate with that, and that person will act that mindset, that story out into their lives. And for the brain, for it to make sense, they start to create experiences and look for events that tell them that they are not enough, amount to anything. They look for things to prove to themselves that this is the reason why they're bullying me. It has to make sense, right? That's what you become. That's the story that you tell yourself. That's what you become. But if you have a victory mindset, and you look at things very differently, and you learn to not internalize other people's judgments and other people's mishaps, and you stand on your own 2 feet, you learn from that experience without internalizing it, and beat the odds. One example that I like to use is Jay-Z. Jay-Z is from Brooklyn, New York, and he was a drug dealer, coming from the hard knocks of life. And as he was pursuing his music, he had obstacles thrown his way, dealing with family and friends telling him that a music career. I believe he even told a story about how his uncle doubted him in his music career, because his uncle didn't see how far Jay-Z seen. He even went to the record company, and the record label told him he wasn't enough. And I'll insert a clip so that you can see for yourself and get your own understanding of what he was talking about.
My first album came out in '96, and it was like, and I had to put the album out myself. Nobody would sign me. They thought I was terrible. Every single record, I went to every single record label. They was like, this guy's terrible. He's nothing. That just goes to show you how far the A&R was off. Like, it was these guys, and they used to go to Bentleys and had electric blue shirts on, and how you know about hip-hop, and what do you know about? What are you talking about? You had the egg and the nest, and the whole everything just wasn't representative of hip-hop. So
you put out your own album?
Yep. I mean, like, it went from singles. Like, I would press up singles, put it in the car. I had to go to the record company. Go to the record stores myself and here, take this. Come back, get $100, $200, give them some more records. It really started like that. Like,
Wow.
but it made me appreciate it so much. Not listening to other people again, because I could have easily been like, wow, maybe I'm right, and maybe what I'm talking about ain't right. You know what I'm saying? They said no one wants to sign me. Maybe what I'm saying ain't right. I could have easily took that. That was easy. That would have stopped the suffering, but I didn't.
And Jay-Z is a prime example of this rule. Number one, the stories that you tell yourself is what you'll become. He was a part of the Matrix. He wasn't supposed to make it out. He wasn't supposed to have an amazing career in music. Not only in music, but he has different sources of income, beautiful wife and beautiful kids. Like, that wasn't supposed to be his reality, but he told himself the story that he wanted to live out, and he eventually got that. Period. Rule number 2. The universe is always in correspondence with the beliefs that you have about yourself, about others, and just life in general. And here is how this works. I'm going to break this down into 2 different concepts. Hopefully I do not lose you guys, but I will try my best. So the first concept I'm going to talk about is the universal law number 1, all is mind. And the second concept, we're going to be talking about neuro-linguistic programming, communication model. So the first one, the universal law, all is mind, states that everything that we experience in this physical 3D world has its origin in the invisible, mental, spiritual 5D realm. Remember, as above, so below, right? And it also states that your individual mind is a part of the universal, omnipresent mind, right? So therefore, you have the possibility of reaching outside of your own reality and getting in connection and tapping in to the omnipresent reality. So that therefore you can create your reality. I hope I'm making sense and I'm not sounding like I'm talking in circles. But yeah, with that said, your reality is a manifestation of your mind. On to the second concept, NLP communication model. So we know that we experience this world with our 5 senses, right? The information we receive through our 5 senses, we either delete, distort, or generalize. And the reason why we do this is because if our brain tries to process all the information that we're given at once, our brains would literally shut down like a computer. Which is why we delete, distort, or generalize, which also means that we're not receiving the full truth, which is why your truth and somebody else's truth is subjective. Stay with me here. Information that we just deleted, distorted, and generalized then goes through to our filters, which are normally a plethora of things, but the main things are the values and beliefs that we hold. Values and beliefs that we have usually come from the map, our internal representation, our own personal experiences. That is our map. That is our perspective. That's how we view things, right? And everybody has a different map. If we all view the same thing the same way, life would be very boring. And no one would really grow, honestly. Like, that's why it's important to value other people's perspectives and other people's truth. Because, yes, truth is truth, but it's also subjective, again. Because everybody maps, everybody's filters, and everybody receives information differently. Remember, because we delete, distort, and generalize. And the information that I delete, distort, and generalize could be different from the information that you delete, distort, and generalize. So we're all receiving the same information, but we're taking it in and digesting it differently. Hopefully I'm not losing you. Stay with me. Talking about the map being the internal or personal representation and personal experiences. So the map then affects the way we receive information, which affects our overall state of mind, our attitude, our emotional well-being, just our overall state of mind, which then also impacts our behavior, the way we respond to things, and thus creates our reality over again. So it's kind of like this cycle. You receive the world through the five senses, you distort, delete, you generalize, you then go back around to internalizing things using that map of yours through your own personal filters and values and beliefs, which affects your state of mind, which impacts your behavior and your actions, and you create and look for things that prove to you what it is that you believe. If you personally believe that the world is conspiring against you, this will affect your overall state of mind, which will have you looking for events, stories, and things that tell you that the world in fact is conspiring against you, which then affects your overall behavior and your actions. And I mean, people respond to the way you behave, the way you act, and that's how you create your reality. So going back to the rule itself, the universe is always in correspondence with what you believe about yourself, others, in the world, and your life in general. It's always in correspondence because, I mean, you are the common denominator. You feel me? Did I just make sense? I really hope I made sense. How y'all feel about that? Is that a mind blower or not? Like, moving on to rule number 3. So, imagination paired with emotion is more powerful than logic itself. Hence, why the greatest athletes use or practice visualization. So this kind of goes into phobias. You know how people have fear of spiders, heights, fear of driving. It's more than likely is because they're painting a picture in their head, they're imagining the worst case scenario, and they have this feeling attached to it that something is going to happen to them, something that's detrimental. This feeling that they have attached to this belief or to this phobia is so powerful that someone could come to them and try to tell them what logically makes sense of why they shouldn't be afraid. It doesn't matter to them because that feeling is so real. So imagine if you were to take that same concept and apply it to the dream life that you want to have, the dream car that you want to have, the dream career that you want to have. Imagine what it would be like if you would pair visualizing the life that you want to have to emotion that you want to feel. So not just saying, I'm a boss chick, I run my own businesses, but actually feeling that and embodying that. This goes into saying your mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, which is both mind-blowing and scary at the same time, because a lot of people imagine and take on fear tactics and fear mongering when it comes to their overall life. They don't do enough of looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty, right? So I wanted to use the example of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who broke his back or his leg or spine or something, and then all it took was imagination to fix his leg or back, whatever it was. I'm going to insert the clip so you see for yourself.
And I was coming up to this intersection. So as I made the turn, a four-wheel drive Bronco going about 55 miles an hour hit me from behind and catapulted me out of my bicycle. The compressive force compressed 6 vertebrae in my spine. The prognosis was I'd probably never walk again, and that I needed a radical surgery called the Harrington rod surgery. If this had been anybody else, I probably would have recommended that they have the surgery. But this was me. It was one thought, and the thought was the power that made the body heals the body. So I would start off in my mind reconstructing my spine vertebrae per vertebrae. So for 6 weeks, I went through this incredible dark night of the soul because I couldn't really get my mind to do what I wanted it to do. And it would take me about 3 hours and closing my eyes and reconstructing every single vertebrae and starting over again every time I lost my attention. At the end of 6 weeks, I went through the whole entire process without losing my attention. And it was like I hit a tennis ball in the sweet spot. Something clicked in that moment. I clicked. I started noticing significant changes in my body. My body began to change dramatically, and I was back on my feet in 10 weeks and back training again at 12 weeks. And I just made a deal with myself. And the deal was that if I was ever able to walk again, I'd spend the rest of my life studying the mind-body connection and mind over matter.
Rule number 4. Once the mind has been expanded to a bigger idea or exposed to more options, it can never go back to its original state. And I absolutely love this concept because I feel like taking it back to my origin. I'm not necessarily from the hood. I was raised around it. I wasn't in it, but I was around it. And just seeing the life that was lived and going from that to being exposed to the life that I could have, going from living on government assistance, living on government assistance, food stamps, Section 8, blah, 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 to being exposed to a better, sweeter side. What Kanye West wrote about, the good life. What it's like experiencing, going from being in the hood, being around crab in a barrel mentality to being around abundance, people who live luxuriously. Like, once your mind grasps and sees that that life is possible for you, it can never go back. Like, once you have seen it, you cannot unsee it. Once you've experienced it and you felt it, you can't go back to having a small mindset. Like, once you know, you know. So it's really up to you about the actions that you take from there to get to where you want to be. Another example of this is learning new information. Being in school, learning new information. Once you learn something, you learn new information and you apply it, you can't go back to being ignorant. Like, once you learn 1 + 1 = 2, you can't go back to not knowing. You can't go back to not knowing what 1 + 1 is. You feel me? Once the mind has been expanded, once the mind has been exposed, which is why I encourage people to self-explore, to continue to learn, continue to be students of the occult, science, and wisdom. Once you learn, your mind can never go back. And that is beautiful to me. Once you've accepted, broke through the barrier of a limiting belief, and you have decided to believe the best possible possibility, your mind can't go back to being a small-minded individual. It just accepts that this is your new reality. Rule number 5. An emotionally, energetically, spiritually induced symptom will cause organic changes over time. We know, or studies have shown, that 75% of patients have ailments and illnesses that are functional, not organic. And we also know that 1/3 of patients come in with problems that doctors can't even find the origin as to why or how it happens, and sometimes they don't even have a procedure that could fix it right away. And that's due to the state of mind that one has. So if you've been suppressing anxiety, panic attacks, trauma, really detrimental events that you have not worked through or healed from, you subconsciously store them or unconsciously store them. Where do you think that energy goes? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. So if you take what happened to you and you suppress it, where do you think that energy goes? In your body, perhaps? Don't you think that creates disease in your body? This takes me back to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who healed himself. Whenever you guys get a chance, I need you to go watch the Netflix film Heal. These people heal themselves using their mind, their energy, using, you know, their subconscious, the power of their subconscious. And they basically use, I'm pretty sure they use more than these 5 rules that I'm talking about. Like I said, there's a plethora of rules of the mind, but I think that people are sleeping on a gold mine, and it's all in here. And I'm making it a goal to tap into that same power that our ancestors had. Who you think moved them pyramids? I just want to know. They were doing things like possibly moving objects with their mind, seeing through people, looking at someone and able to tell their whole life story. Like, everybody has that power, and I just want to tap into that, and I want to help. And as I learn, I would love to teach you guys and help guide you to that next powerful state of mind. I don't know about y'all, but I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm trying to get to that 5D mentality. You hear me? Law of attraction. I am the law of attraction. You feel me? Like, I am the universal mind. Like, all is mind. Everything is connected to me. But that was the end of this video. Please comment below and tell me what you think. Tell me what resonates. Tell me what rule that resonates the most with you, and which one you would like to implement in your life today. And tell me what other rules of the mind that you like that I may have not mentioned. And I'll see you on the next video, where I'll be talking about the dark night of the soul. Until next time, keep exploring, keep evolving, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.